Piracy in the 16th and 17th centuries is often associated with the warm waters and tropical islands of the Caribbean, where infamous pirate havens like Tortuga and Nassau became notorious for their lawlessness. Pirates like Blackbeard and Henry Morgan became symbols of the so-called Golden Age of piracy, a time when treasure-laden Spanish galleons were prime targets for seafaring criminals. However, piracy wasn't limited to the Caribbean. In fact, the North Atlantic, particularly the waters off the coast of Europe, the British Isles, and even North America, also witnessed its own forms of maritime predation. The coastal regions of New England, the waters of the North Sea, and the fjords of Scandinavia were frequented by pirates who terrorized merchant vessels, disrupted trade, and instilled a sense of fear and dread among local populations. In these northern waters, pirates were often less romanticized than their tropical counterparts and were more associated with political and economic motives, driven by rivalries between emerging European powers like England, the Dutch Republic, and France. These pirates were often seen not only as criminals, but also as ruthless privateers, sanctioned by governments to wage war on rival nations. The maritime threats in the north were less glamorous, but were just as impactful, influencing the course of history and the development of maritime laws and international trade. The northern sea route between Europe and northern Russia was an important trade route in the 16th and 17th centuries. By using it to reach the port of Arkhangelsk, instead of the land route through the Baltic and Central Europe, traders avoided border crossings and tax payments. At the same time, frequent wars and conflicts of the era made the exchange of goods difficult. Sweden controlled the Baltic Sea, while the Bosporus and the Dardanelles were in Turkish hands, making Arkhangelsk almost the only option for maritime trade with Russia, especially in summer. Western merchant ships loaded refined Russian goods, furs, leather goods, spices, and silver. Wherever there were trading ships, pirates often followed them. Piracy was more common in southern Europe, but due to increased maritime traffic, pirates also had plenty of opportunities for raids along the Norwegian coast. They made great profits from the looted goods they sold in the Netherlands and England. It was said that they always had an abundance of fish. After all, stolen fish cargo also brought good profit. Like their Caribbean counterparts, northern pirates did not attack only ships. Several alarming reports reached the government in Copenhagen, indicating that they were also operating on land. Clashes broke out between coastal residents and pirates. Moreover, the coastal population lived in fear of frequent raids and looting. A Frenchman against the Danes. The first pirate to cause significant damage to the shipping and fishing industries of the then Danish-Norwegian kingdom was François-Philippe II. He did not discriminate in his loot, capturing both Dutch and English ships. In May 1602, a merchant ship from Bergen was plundered in the northern Norwegian province of Finnmark. The cargo taken included money, clothing, meat, beer, gunpowder, and various other supplies intended for the residents of the Vardø fortress. This small coastal town was on its way to becoming a key centre of Arctic trade. The Danish king Christian IV wanted to turn it into a northern version of the Helsingør fortress, which controlled access to the Kattegat Strait in the Baltic Sea on the route to the Atlantic Ocean. In the summer of the same year, Dø and his men arrived in Vardø with previously captured English prisoners. English trading ship was positioned exactly in the middle of the harbour, so it could be seen from the shore. The captain and several crew members were shot in front of everyone on deck and thrown into the sea. A royal official from the fortress later reported to the ruler in Copenhagen that the pirates had fired a cannon salute at the settlement. The still small and unarmed garrison of the fortress could not prevent the pirates from taking over and leaving as they pleased. Before they sailed away, the pirates abducted 3 locals. The captives were often forced to work, but they were also sold as slaves. Some good looters, the pirates even sailed as far as Algiers, where there was a special slave market. On several occasions, even the Danish king had to personally pay ransom from his treasury to free people from captivity. Unexpectedly, Deux disappeared. It is unclear why, but it is assumed that there were clashes among his crew members or that his ship collided with an iceberg. The terror of the northern seas. The northern route was still not safe for people living or sailing along the Norwegian coast as pirates continued to plunder. Jan Mandus, who bore the nickname Terror of the Northern Seas, became particularly notorious. It is unclear where he came from. Some suspect he was Spanish or Dutch or of Flemish descent. Some believe Deux was actually a merchant from Dunkirk in what is now France, and that the area was a refuge for pirates. Perhaps he even came from a pirate family. His pirates wreaked more havoc than ever before. They looted all goods, took hostages, and burned coastal settlements. Survivors of his raids, terrified, told stories of how iron spikes and sharp knives grew from his knees and elbows instead of kneecaps and nails, and how his teeth were long like daggers, while his mouth spewed sulphur and fireballs. Despite this, Mandus was a skilled sailor. He easily avoided pursuers, though he did not have many chances for manoeuvring in the cold sea like his Caribbean brethren in arms. However, by the summer of 1615, King Christian IV had had enough. Every year, he sent special punitive expeditions against pirates, and during the Kalmar War against Sweden, Danish frigates even abandoned the battlefield to pursue pirates in the north. At times, the pirates were a greater security threat to the Danish-Norwegian king than even his greatest enemy, the Swedes. By royal decree, a special squadron was formed with the task of bringing Mandus and his men to Copenhagen, dead or alive. The ruler's own ship, Victor, fast and highly lethal with its 44 cannons, was placed at the disposal of the pursuers, the most experienced admirals, Turgen Dow and Jens Munk. After a difficult and stormy journey through the Norwegian Sea, from the Faroe Islands and Vardø, the decisive battle took place off the coast of the Kola Peninsula. Upon encountering his pursuers, Mandus attacked first without hesitation, thus confirming all the rumours that surrounded him. The battle ended in victory for the Danish-Norwegian squadron, as Dow reported, to the merciful Lord, King Christian IV. 55 pirates were thrown into the sea, and 24 were executed on the spot. Mandus and his 2 closest accomplices were taken to Copenhagen for trial. A vast amount of treasure was seized. Moreover, it was said that never before had such great wealth arrived in Copenhagen as when Victor docked. It was a matter of chests full of goods, gold, and large quantities of cod liver oil. Returning to Copenhagen after their campaign, the Danish-Norwegian squadron also seized the cargo of Basque fishermen who had been illegally whaling off the coast of Finnmark. Admirals Munk and Dow received their share of the loot and became wealthy. Mandus, however, faced a different fate. After terrorising the vast northern seas for more than 15 years, he was hanged in Copenhagen on August 29, 1615, along with his 2 closest men. As a warning to others and to the horror of onlookers, their bodies remained hanging for a long time. A young Icelandic captain who arrived in the Danish capital recounted the gruesome sight of the dead bodies. They were still hanging there when I arrived in the autumn of 1615, dressed in their silk garments adorned with golden necklaces and gold-laced shoes. They served as a warning to all evildoers, a reminder of the sinful life they had led. With Mandus's death, piracy in the North Sea significantly declined, though it was not entirely eradicated. Since he had left a lasting legacy, rumours spread among the people about a great treasure, a hidden hoard supposedly concealed while fleeing from the navy. The legend has never been confirmed, but perhaps one day archaeologists will uncover the treasure of the terror of the northern seas.